live with Brett. How are you doing, my friend?
All good, all good. It's been an exciting few weeks. As you know, I was off to Cape Town and had the great opportunity to pop in and visit you, which was awesome. And I have to say, you make an amazing impromptu dinner for some guests. It's really cool.
Irish nachos.
There you go. No,
it's my claim to fame.
I'm told it's a Cape Town thing because everyone, when I was down there, said Irish nachos, like they knew it, like it was. Anyway, all good.
always good to educate. Sir. Always good. But how did the trip go? I mean, you've been traveling during lockdown. There's a lot of guys asking that question. How did it go? How was the roads out there and moving around? Was it a problem?
No, not at all. Actually, to the contrary, it was very quiet. There was one place we got stopped, and it was very much of a standard procedure. Want to see your travel permit, stamp, cheers, bye. And literally, it was probably the quietest. It was like going back to, I don't know, maybe the 80s when there was not very many cars on the road. It was actually a pleasure. It was, and even there wasn't even any speed traps. Not that I should tell people that, but the cops was basically just, most of them sitting on the side of the road, obviously, supposedly doing their duties towards the Corona story.
Yeah.
One stopped on the way in, and then one license check through the N1. That was it. Nothing else. No issues. What? No problems. Nothing. Zero. Nothing at all. Seriously, it's more. How can I say it? There's been more people hearing and saying things than truthfully what it is. And I went both freeways. So it wasn't like it was different between the N1 and the N2. It was super quiet.
Yeah, because you did quite a trip. Where did you go from Durban? What route did you take?
Well, we went Durban through Transkei, obviously Eastern Cape, and then right the way through down the N2 to the Western Cape. Spent a week and a bit in Cape Town, drove around there, did a lot of business with obviously our dealers and family and stuff. So obviously saw family, and then headed out on the N1 and stopped over at Colesberg and headed through to Bloemfontein and back to Maritzburg. Which is it's a standard trip. And literally there were a lot of trucks, understandably, but that is always. But cars, I can probably tell you there's probably about, most people travel in holidays. So if you say normal time, I would say 20% of what normally would be on the road was on the road. So 80% of the cars just aren't traveling. It was some sections you would actually think, you were like, where am I? Because you wouldn't see a car for 5 or 10 minutes, nothing.
That always, I do a lot of driving by myself. Obviously, with the TV show. And that sometimes freaks me out because I like taking back roads, or the quieter roads or the more scenic route, And sometimes you get into an area and you're like, if I have an accident now, no one's gonna find me for days.
Cell phone signals. Well, it's funny you mention that because we actually did take a detour. We went to decide to go through Clarence, which is always nice. And the sad thing is, a lot of shops have closed down.
Really,
in all the small towns. Yeah, a lot of the hotels, and the B&Bs are struggling. Most of them have closed doors. The restaurants, I would say, in the one town there was 2 out of 12 left. So that's the sad side of it. And because people aren't traveling, like I just said, the side effect of that is that the fact that these businesses, which obviously rely on the travelers, have just not survived. And we went through Clarence, and it was a sad affair. In fact, we went into this one shop and bought something, and it was at about 3:00, and the woman said, the card machine, I don't know, she said, it's the first time I've used it all day. No one's been in here. Yeah, for real. So
we kind of forget what impact this has on the small towns. Like you said, people aren't traveling. There's no, the accommodation, B&B, those things. Everyone is dying. Everything's dying.
Because they survive just on travelers. Think about it. No one goes to those places for any reason other than passing through.
Yeah.
And because everyone's got this fear, and they're all worried about all the other businesses. But those little towns are, I mean, their lifeline is exactly that, people passing through. So it's hopefully there has to be something, that's going to have to change quickly, or something's going to have to snap. Something either way. Yeah.
But I heard we got, isn't there an announcement coming this week or something? I don't know.
There's pressure. There is pressure from somewhere to go to level 2, and obviously the alcohol and cigarette thing.
We need to get working, man. We got TV shows to shoot and stuff to do, man. People to see. Yeah. So, but now you were on the first episode of the podcast. I mean, amazing how things have changed over the last few months already.
Yep.
But we got you today because you guys are launching a great new concept. It's in the new magazine, which is coming out. It's
awesome.
Reaching the shelves during this week. So, guys, if you see it out there, take a photo, post it for us on Facebook. We'd love to see as the magazine starts spreading through the country again. We know it's a slow process, but it's getting there. Now, you guys are launching the Rockford Fosgate Army.
Correct.
Please explain to us what this is all about, because I love this concept.
Joe, what it's about is something that I've been, I conceived some time ago, and the reason for it was, I think a lot of people have, especially now during lockdown, particularly, has given more reason for it, and I think that's what catalyzed the whole thing. We've obviously had a large following of our company and the brand for 30 years in South Africa, and we're proud to say that we've been in the 12 volt supply and audio, 12 volt mobile industry for longer than anyone else in the history of mobile audio. In the sense of having the same brand consistent, and to have that consistency, I think, gives a lot of people confidence, and that's what South Africans always need. Something that they can, feel is their comfort zone. So with that in mind, I felt it's time to give back, and we've had this following of clients and fanatics since they were 20. Now these clients are now maybe in their 50s, and we sell, as you know, anything that moves, be it from a motor car to a motorbike to a boat to an ATV. We will have product that's purpose-built for those particular vehicles. Now, with that being said, all the social media that we've had for a number of years, the YouTubes, the Instagrams, Facebook, that's all great. But truthfully, a lot of these, youngsters particularly, are enthusiastic, and they get motivated by what they see. And I've always said, you don't sell product from, or in case of anything, you don't sell it from an advertisement. The content on YouTube is what people watch. So I wanted to do something to give back to those people. And since we have a massive following, it justified, the RF Army. So how it works in sense is that consumers that have either got Rockford can go on and obviously do a video or send footage of their vehicle that they're proud of, naturally. We will then screen this and be able to then upload it to the Hot Rod magazine, social media, and obviously Rockford. The idea being is that with us, every person that obviously gets reactions or I think on Facebook it would be different to likes, YouTube and likes, and obviously you've got the subscriptions and so forth. They will get R-Bucks, and that R-Bucks essentially is free money. It's a sense, it's in other words, one R-Buck is worth 10 cents. Now, if a person gets, 50,000 likes, I mean, that's 5,000, which they would in turn be able to purchase Rockford product. So a youngster who may not have the money, but maybe his brother does or a friend does, and he's got a cell phone and they can, or she maybe, it doesn't have to be male or female, anyone, that chooses to take a cool video and something that's interesting and sends it to us. We'll then upload that onto our social media platforms, and they will then not only get the responses to make them get recognized, but they get something back. And obviously, as this progresses, there will be team leaders, just like an army. You've got your different ranks, and obviously the person that's running with this properly will get a lot more recognition. Then there will be competitions going out down the line for the ones that have obviously put the effort in. And the RBucks platform obviously just goes not only for the RF Army, but for anyone who makes purchases. We're going to be giving 10% back on all purchases that qualify, so they can redeem those to improve their systems or give them away at gift vouchers or anything like that. But what's important to us is the fact that we're interacting. And because social media has been, like I said, a very powerful platform, but we can't take it to what we'd like to have done, and that's to events where now you've got maybe, a whole bunch of these individuals that have reached a certain level, and now you want to have them, because people have now seen them on YouTube. The next coolest thing, especially having, the interactive, it has all been through, Zoom and various platforms. You can't have that tangible touch and feel, which I think people have missed. It is funny how things have worked, people got used to touching and feeling, and then the virtual world became very popular. Now I think the virtual world's almost losing its.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's because
people want to touch stuff again. That sounds so wrong.
Because I know it does, but it's so right. It's so right. And for me, you look at it and you think, well, it's always the case of if you can't do it, you want it. I think it's just a human thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And for us, we're trying to connect with that and saying, well, we can't go out and have these events. So what's the next thing that's closest to it? And that's really the motivation for it. And hopefully when we can reach level 2 or whatever allows us to go and have events, that's when it's going to be so cool, because obviously we want you guys to be there, and then those guys who've, got their vehicles recognized, and people want to see this car that's like all over the YouTube channels or Instagram. They want to come out there and meet the people, and they're going to feel like rock stars, which is really what it's about. And also to bring a bigger community to the hot rod scene, of what we spoke about in our first interview, which I think everyone understood that, hopefully. Yeah.
But we want to just let people know that this rating is not based on how big your system is. Okay, we're not looking for the guy that spent the most money on Rockford Fosgate. I mean, that doesn't qualify you as hitting the ranks very quickly. It goes down to the video. It goes down how the installation happened, and the whole. It involves everything. So you can't just turn around and go, oh well, I've got a small system and my buddy's dropped like a stupid amount of money. He's already going to win. I'm not going to enter. Doesn't work that way. All right. This comes down to how you install, how you do it, how you do your video. If you're going to be creative, and basically between Rockford Fosgate, SA Hot Rods, we want to make you famous. Plain and simple.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Joe. What you're saying is so on the money. It has got nothing to do with how big your system is. It's exactly that. I mean, we've got systems that are designed and catered for any price point. It's how people interact with, firstly, their creativeness, because the brand, and each installation is a personal reflection on that individual. I mean, I always say this: no one has the same DNA, so we're all different. We want to show and reflect that. And how do you show the world? I mean, someone designs and builds the system. Obviously, we've got extremely, dedicated dealers that will produce whatever the client's imagination would, want. Yeah. But now they run away and they're like, okay, they go show their mates, and then that's it. And then now this way they can show the world. Exactly. And it could be just a single sub with a 4-channel amp and a pair of splits, but done with so much. And that's that person's pride and joy. And if they go and put the effort in to reflect on how stoked they are on their stereo system, well, that's really going to get people to say, hey, that guy's so excited. The music, I mean, I get goosebumps talking about it. And that to me is what I want everyone to have. That when they're listening to their favorite track and they're driving down the road and they're taking in the visual experience, and that music is, it's like this. Watching mean, going to a wedding without music is just not going to have it, right? I mean, going to a movie.
I had that with my first
know,
wedding, and that's why I'm not married anymore. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it
well, but I mean, everything. Music is like, I don't know. To me, it's so people just think, oh, well, I like music, but they don't understand when you get it to sound so good, and you can position it in places that you would never imagine. I mean, imagine if you're in a hang glider listening to music, how it would change the experience. I mean, listening to it on a Harley Davidson, cruising down the road with wind in your hair, not with earphones, literally listening to rock and roll, AC/DC, I mean, or getting in a speedboat and cruising at, whatever speed, and you're hearing that music in your face. We do that. That's what we do. We bring music to the cutting edge of what people are wanting in their lifestyles today. And that's what the Rockford Fosgate has developed these products and to provide what consumers are wanting. Because music's, it's in our pocket. It's with us, and we need to extend that experience, not just to your living room or driving in your car down the freeway. You want to have it in the open top car, in your ATV, whatever it is. So that experience that people are having, we want to see that the way they respond to that through the RF Army philosophy. So yeah, it doesn't have to be. And we just did an ATV, in fact, yesterday in Johannesburg.
Nice.
It's an all-terrain vehicle. It's got subwoofers, amplifiers, speakers, everything on it. And this guy wants to go out in the sticks and have a good time, And when he's out there in the middle of nowhere, cruising the sand dunes in the middle of wherever, listening to that is just a memory that you're actually watching the movie, but you're living it. Yeah. And the music is there to add that, I don't know, say color to the picture, if I can call it. I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm
on the competition, we like, excuse me, like Brett just said, this doesn't just go for cars. We want to see everything. We want to see boats, ATVs, bikes. If you've got Rockford Fosgate running on any part of anything that you got out there, we want to see a video of it. If it's you and your cronies on a speedboat and you guys are wakeboarding or something, we want to see all of that, Make a video. We want to see people dancing. We want to see people enjoying the product. And our goal is just a kicker. So after we've gone through everything, we actually want to get the winner of the competition. And I'll be shooting through to the winner personally. And we're actually going to film it. And this is going on the next season of Rod Shop. All right. So not only do you have the net and stuff going on, we're going to stick your face on TV for a million people so they can see it as well on that side. So I think this is a good concept. And I like the fact that you guys are giving back. This 10% thing, dude, that's huge.
It is huge. And if you think about it, to me, we could spend it on many other ways. And in the past, we'd have events at the Coca-Cola Dome, and it would cost us a fortune. And you kind of wondered, well, was that really the more we created entertainment, it was really to benefit the person hosting the event most of the time. And then they would still charge for entry. And every time we would exhibit, we'd always try and do something that was interactive, something that people would leave the event knowing that they had some fun, which it comes to the point of, when you get to a racetrack and you get in a car, you always experience that and remember it just on one lap than watching the entire race from the sideline. And that's really what we're trying to do here. And it's difficult, especially with sound, because you can't promote sound, in the traditional ways. A picture of a product you can show. But when it comes to experiencing it, that's when you truly decide, this makes sense and this is what I want. And when people have made that commitment and we feel that, they've spent the money, and even if I said they haven't and they just know somebody, but if they're that passionate, they're going to put the best videos and the best pictures together. And that's going to get other people excited. And that's, to me, worth the 10%, because how much would you spend on trying to get that consumer out there? You could spend millions on billboards and all kinds of weird things, but I don't think we'll get that same reaction. So the RF Army is, I think, going to grow exponentially. And the cool thing is, it's not like we're doing this shooting from the hip. We spent 30 years building up a consumer base, and they're true followers, true fanatics. And yeah, that I think says something, and it will make sense. And being a part of your magazine, and the fact that you're a South African that supports not only local but international companies, I think would obviously reach out to a lot of overseas companies and what we're doing, and pick up on the same mentality, and understand that you can't just take, you got to give back.
Yeah, you got to. I mean, look, that's a conversation we keep having with a lot of guys. Is it's the platform is changing from a point where all you would do is just throw a product in front of someone's face and go, buy this, buy this. Now it's becoming interactive. It's coming about education. Okay, it's not just about buy this product because it's the best. It's now, why is it the best? What makes it better than everything that's out there? And that's the message. I love that message. I love that conversation where you sit down, where you start breaking down everything on what is the way, which way you're going, because then you really start getting the bang for your buck at the end of the day. Sure. When it's not just I'm buying a product because there's a name on it. I mean, it's like fashion stuff. You can go pay a stupid amount of money for a T-shirt when you can buy a cheap one to do the same price. But will the cheap one last you as long as the expensive one? That's that consumer conversation that's going into it. So when is Rockford? When is this all kicking off from your side?
Well, essentially, it's already kicked off. I mean, as you said earlier, the magazine was the line in the sand. The published date was, I think, this week Monday.
Yeah.
As it starts rolling out to all the different locations, people obviously will go on our site. We've just launched our new site. We've been going through some. It's not only the RF Army we've launched a lot of other interactive things as well.
Okay.
So there's been quite a few hurdles to resolve, things that are done differently. So yeah, that's pretty much, I think the magazine decided it. We were like having to get it done. So nothing like pressure, Joe goes, well, listen, we're publishing it on Monday. It's going to have to be. So just for the ones that don't know, when you see there's actually going to be a link with a QR code, as far as I remember, which takes you directly to the location on our site. Which and I also understand that it's also those videos, once we've received them, they'll be uploaded. Not only so the procedures are basically explained what you got to do. It just gives you an understanding of what your benefits are, and it's nothing serious. It's just to make people clear as to what it is, because they might have heard about it, but they're saying, "What's this RF Army?" And then someone says, "Just go check it out. It's on Rockford's website, Rockford Fosgate's website." And then we're going to take that footage, and we're going to obviously it's going to be run exactly as Joe just said to both the Rockford Fosgate website plus also the Hot Rod. Magazine website. So there's two. SA Hot Rod. So there's two mechanisms in where, because you might find some consumers in the Hot Rod fraternity that have not realized, and there's a lot of Hot Rod guys that have put Rockford in their cars. In fact, I think on the back cover of this edition, there's an example of a Hot Rod pickup truck, and it's got a video where you can Q-Link as well and see an interactive video, which is what that video tells us, or rather tells you as a consumer, is what we're looking for. We're looking for footage like that. It doesn't have to be the coolest hot rod, but the fact that they've taken the time to take the pictures in the right locations, they've shown off their product, they've shown off their lifestyle. And someone out there would see that and go, hey, I want to do the same thing, or I've got a vehicle that I want to do slightly different. And that's the purpose of this.
Exactly.
And and we're getting content. We're getting content which you'd have to pay for. I think it's fair to pay for it, and that's exactly what we do. We're giving back. We're paying for it.
Exactly. That's what I just wanted to say. You guys aren't just doing what everybody else is doing by submitting stuff and filling up their Facebook page with stuff. You guys are actually physically giving back to them. We're going, thanks for your video, and this is what we're going. Yeah, you got to put a little bit of work into it, but nothing is free in life, So
and with that being said, exactly. And with that being said, I just want to make this understood, and I think it does say on it, the only videos and images that will be posted on the various platforms are ones that qualify. Understandably, we don't want people that are just trying to make quick money So it works both ways. You can't, you can't just slap something together and not put some time and effort into it. So it would justifiably not make it if it's not worthy.
Exactly, exactly. But Rockford Fosgate has been very busy, the brand in total, during lockdown. I mean, they brought out a bunch of videos where they were introducing everyone as well. If you guys get a chance, go check out Rockford Fosgate on YouTube as well. Got some beautiful videos and stuff that came out during the lockdown period as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Those were actually timed well, because a lot of people, they know the brand, they know the quality of the product and so forth, but they don't know the true history of it, and also who's behind the scenes. And that was really what was the motivation there. And I think it went down very well, in the sense that a lot of people that even we've had in our circles for many years, they were not aware of some of the things they learned from those YouTube videos. Yeah, so absolutely, what you're saying is spot on. Yeah,
I love the thing that I love about it is it humanizes brands, if I want to call it that way. Okay, because you look at a product, and it's like when we've spoken to the guys at Woolwood and that type of stuff. You look at these big brands and these big boxes, and you're like, oh, and you have this perception in your head of how it is, and then all of a sudden a video comes out and you're meeting the guys behind it, and you're like, wow, they're not robots.
Yeah.
There's a guy that actually sits and designs this. There's a guy that actually sits and figures this out, and it humanizes a product, and it puts more appreciation behind it. Now when you open that box and you look at that product, you've got a lot more appreciation for that box and how it's gotten to you than it used to, because all of a sudden you understand the process, you understand what goes in behind it, you understand, and you see the love and passion. I think that's a big thing,
I think that stands for the success of a lot of companies that follow that mentality. And in Rockford, what happens is exactly that. Everyone that is in the engineering or sales or at any level has a Rockford Fosgate system in their car, so that they don't just get paid a salary at the end of the month for doing their job. They're actually experience what they are designing and developing and selling. So they feel more committed and more responsible. And if there's any things that they're not happy with, at least they can bring it back, right at the coalface and speak to the engineers and say, you know what, it'll be nice if the product did this. And a lot of the times big companies lose sight of that. They just produce stuff. They look at the numbers. They look at the packaging and the marketing, and they go, will it sell? They don't really care about whether it's actually, connecting with that consumer. And that's what a lot of true-blooded products, are in fact successful on. And Rockford does that extensively. They spend probably 2 to 3 years, not just R&Ding stuff, but also putting it out in the field and letting people that they obviously would get, reliable feedback on, to ensure that it is actually doing what it's supposed to do.
But just the fact that, from a brand perspective, the fact that Rockford Fosgate went, well, we started the brand, and this is the guys that had the hot rods and the tuners and stuff. We're now 25, 30 years down the line, and that guy is now evolved. He doesn't just have the car anymore. He's got the ATV, he's got the Harley, he's got the boat, he's got all this type of stuff. And the fact that the product evolved with the people, that is a big thing, to sit and look. Okay, well, no, because that means you're looking at where your clientele is going. Where are they going to be in 5-6 years? You're not just relying on that bubble. This is where we are. This is what we do. Don't change. Don't move away. Oh, hold on. This is what we need to do. This is what works. You guys, you're expanding, and you're looking at different avenues the whole time and going, okay, well, right. This guy wanted something on his wake boat and all this type of stuff. What other application can we do? And it helps him, because immediately when he gets to that point, he goes, well, there's a brand I already know. Well, they were great in my car. Makes sense to have them on my bike.
Yeah, so exactly right, Joe. That's 100% so true, because Yeah, Rockford, as you know, started as an amplifier manufacturer in '73. In fact, it was Fosgate at that time, and it became Rockford Corporation in 1980. And it predominantly focused just on car audio. And that was great. I mean, car audio was, it's something that people didn't even expect to put amps and subwoofers and bring their home into their car. That was really what was happening. And it was, wow, you can experience big sound and actually better than what you were getting in your home. And it's cool, you could drive around with it and you didn't have to, disturb your neighbor. You could just drive around and disturb the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And obviously that became, to the sound offs and the SPL, and it evolved. And of course, as you quite rightly said, those consumers have grown up. They've had families and their priorities have shifted, and they've got toys. And since technology and Bluetooth and the fact that we have music in our pockets, as I said earlier, it opened an opportunity. Now, a lot of companies have tried to do this. Problem is they've taken, for the most part, their car audio products and kind of try to modify them to fit in boats and ATVs. But, it's not the correct path, because firstly, the environment is something, it's very challenging, especially even in our country, but in other countries even more. And of course, that becomes an issue. And you'll see some people make a speaker for a boat, and after a year it turns yellow, and then it starts corroding. And they're not meant. There's a lot of technical, not just aesthetics, but there's a lot of technical elements. Off-axis tweeters, and can it handle direct water exposure? So Rockford literally invested huge millions and millions in starting from the ground up and saying, right, how do we actually purpose build products specifically for it? And, a lot of companies wouldn't have taken that risk because it could have broken the company.
Yeah.
A very, very risky move. But when you've got a name that is well stood in the industry for that many years, it makes sense. Companies that don't have a good standing product name that's been going for that long. I mean, Rockford's 40 years old this year, Rockford Corporation. In fact, they had their 40th anniversary. So that says something. And I mean, as I said, the brand name started prior to that in '73. So they're not even taking that into consideration. So that was pretty much the reason for it. They've got the ability, the technology, they've got the patents, and they went with it. And let me tell you, at some point, people were questioning, like, why would someone want to do that? And you could say maybe because we can, which was some of the people's reasoning. But the truth of it is because people want it. They want to, experience their sound, not when they get out their car and it switches off. And nobody just wants to walk around with earplugs in their ears all the time.
No, it cuts you off of the rest of humanity. Sometimes it's a good thing, but not when you're with a group of friends.
I hear you, but I think when you're out on a boat or something and you're listening to sound, you can't exactly have some earphones on. A, they'll probably blow off, and secondly, it's exactly what you said. It's not very social. Well, but to have everybody experience it is great.
All you'll have is a bunch of people screaming at each other over earphones the whole time.
Absolutely. And I mean, the fact that you can be skiing and have speakers on the back of your boat that are designed to be exposed to sun, water, salt, anything, vibration, dust, and they are so powerful that when you're 30 meters away, they sound like they're right in front of you.
Exactly.
They are engineered for it. It's the most insane feeling. I mean, being on a slalom, and you're cruising along with sun in your head, in your face, and wind in your hair, and you got your favorite track playing. You just can't. It just takes you to another level. I mean, people just want more and more and more of that, And then you can get on, like I said earlier, your ATV and do the same thing, or your motorbike. So yeah, that's what they've done, and they've grown this brand. And the thing is, I don't think there's an age attachment to music.
No,
it can ever limit you all the time. And you see guys riding Harleys in their 70s, even older. So why not? They were rockers 30 years ago. Nothing's changed. I mean, I love listening to AC/DC flat out. It must be like I'm there. And
that's the only way to listen to AC/DC. Yeah.
Sorry?
There's the only way to listen to AC/DC as
Absolutely.
loud as humanly possible. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, exactly. And it's got to be clear, and it's got to be reliable. And it's tough when you're dealing with the 12-volt source of a very small electrical system. That's where Rockford is capitalized on its technology because, like I said earlier, they started off manufacturing amplifiers.
Yeah.
And the key to success is the unique technology that's built into the amps, their power supplies particularly. And I'm not going to get into that now, but if anyone wants to learn about it, you can just go and look on our website, or there's a lot of YouTube videos. And it's not just the brand, as you said earlier, it's about the DNA of that brand and the history of it.
Yeah.
And that's what's made it possible to actually get that power from such small, physically sized amps that draw minimal amounts of power. Because electronics in these cars and boats and ATVs don't necessarily provide for that. So we've had to purpose-build stuff that works in those things. Anyone can go and slap on an amplifier. It'll play for a little bit of time until two things happen. A, there's electrical current limitations, or the environment or nature gets the better of it, which is whichever one comes first. Yeah.
The Rockford Army. It's on rockfordfosgatesa.com. Is that the right?
It's rockfordfosgateco.za.
rockfordfosgateco.za.
Yeah, .com is the United States. We obviously the South African fraternity, or Southern Africa. So it's co.za.
So go check it out, rockfordfosgate.co.za. All the information is there. Go join up. Start getting your videos out. Get your videos through to us. And we want to make you famous. Bottom line, we want to make you famous. Brett, thank you so much for being on the show. I think this is going to be excellent. The next time we're going to be live is when we start getting everything through. I'm getting through. I need to come through to you in the next few weeks. We've got a lot of work to do on some other projects as well. So yeah, dude, thank you so much for being on the show. Let's hope this thing works out.
Thank you, Joe, for the invite and opportunity. It's always great working with you guys, and super excited to know that you're so passionate about what you do, and we really appreciate that. And a lot of people just always talking about the negativities and stuff, but hey, you know what? Life's going on, and it's just the people that are positive that are going to keep the wheels turning. And people we're seeing this. People are not going on vacation because they can't, or they're choosing not to because they rather avoid the problems of Corona. So guess what they're doing? They're spending time enjoying their toys. Yeah. And we're actually getting to find that there's more people out there wanting to learn more about what we're doing and putting stuff in their vehicles and the other toys like we spoke just now than we've ever had before, which is so cool. And I think what you're doing is just going to further create that recognition to everyone out there who wants to turn their whatever it is they ride into a hot rod. It doesn't matter what it is.
Exactly. Yeah. Dude, thank you so much.
Cool, man. Take it easy. Cheers, eh?
Cheers.
Bye.
Okay.